$378,077.76. That was the quotation we got from Dunn's Electrical and Hardware Limited when we were about to commence electrical work on our dream house right here in Jamaica. Now that I've given you the total, let's break it down. But before I do that, I have to shout out the under construction family. To those who are just joining us, welcome to the journey. To those who've been here from the start, welcome back to the channel. Now let's break this ish down. So we bought a bunch of switches, I believe 22 of them. They are the Cora switches, all white. I prefer white switches, like I prefer white walls. And these are some of the items we purchased here. I think these, I don't know what those metal boxes name again, but I think these are some couplings there, and I saw conduits there. And those are the electricians doing their measurements. And you see various aspects of the work as I talk. You see the use of levels to ensure that the lines that are being drawn or painted or sprayed on are all level, so that the switches all around the house is on the same level. Right? You know, have some way up there and some down the bottom. Everything throughout the house, level. Yeah, man. So let's get back to it. We also bought some receptacles, 18 of those. We bought 8 outlets, different flush outlets. I think this is saying 13 amps. We bought some other switches, 20 amps. Listen, me just a reading now. Remember, we bought some breaker. Probably for the panel thing, yeah. Let the cutting begin. Work has started as far as the cutting of the walls is concerned. You'll realize he's not using a jackhammer to do this aspect of the work. He cuts with this first. A sharp instrument. You don't want this to cut your foot, hand, or no upon your body at all. Just leave this. Be careful. You realize he's also using protective footwear, gloves, eyewear, face wear, and all of these things. He's a certified electrician, so just in case you want him details, link us. Importantly, the electrician requested that the rough cast take place after he's done all of this cutout and digging in of the wall and all of this. But the builder went ahead and did his own thing, and unfortunately some miscommunication happened there between us and the builders. But the electrician, the man did come well equipped, so not never drop off of nowhere. Everything stay on. Kudos to the electrician and a little less to the builder. We purchased several breakers. I see 120 volts as well as 240 volts, 20 amps, 15 amps, as well as 60 amp breakers. I suppose those would go into the panel boxes. Again, I'm not an electrician. We also bought plate bake light, Decora, some white ones, 7 of those. We bought some additional receptacles, 10. These are broad base Eton receptacles. Weatherproof double swivel base. Another weatherproof item, a ES socket for the top of what I'm not sure, but as soon as I find out I will let you know. I also see that we bought some red, black and green wire. We bought several conduits, 38mm and 32mm conduits. I see some male ends, pothead clamp, pipe straps, grease tube, 3M electrical black tape, tape. Yeah, some clamp type wire holder, Cat 5 wire telephone 4-pair 8-core, some bake lights again. This is a telephone jack flush single wide thingy. 2 rod ground copper wells, usually seen buried in a big wide pipe somewhere in the yard. A dangerous thing, by the way. He's currently marking out the breaker, and we got a breaker, so it's not on the list of items. Some earth termination tag. It's that red warning sign that you put on that red ground copper well that I mentioned earlier. Don't touch it, because the fact that it's buried so deep in the ground, it can shock you, possibly shock you to death. Back to the receptacles that we bought. I see duplex flush GFCI, I suppose, and GFCI breakers. Yo, one GFCI breaker, was $16,500. 500 Jamaican dollars, you know, and we had to buy 2 of them so far. So you know that's a total of $21,450. I don't know how that maths. That maths does sound right, but I don't miss it on the invoice. And yes, this is an invoice, and eventually at the end of this video we will tell you the final cost expended. But yeah, that's what each breaker, GFCI breaker, cost. These are the ones that you put in like bathrooms, washrooms, and so on, areas where there is water, I think, or a possibility that it may be exposed to water. And usually in those rooms you will see a little green light up, so you don't have to turn on your night or light time. Your light at night time when you're going into the bathrooms. We also bought some more wires. I see these are 2.5 mm red single PVC wires, some 2.5 mm black single PVC, 2.5 mm blue single, 2.5 mm yellow single, green single, and some more blue single, but this is a different measurement, and some more yellow singles as well, different measurements. We also bought some bends for PVC 38 mm and some 32 mm PVC bends. But I show you the coupling them. Before we bought a couple of those, quite a bit of those, as well as some clear cement PVC regular 8-ounce OT. Listen to me, I'm learning as I'm telling you this information. And we bought a meter socket as well. That cost us $2,500. As you can see, the most expensive thing that we bought on this list was the GFCI breaker. And I see the cheapest thing is a $51 coupling. And the cost ranges from $51 go up to the $16,500. More metal boxes going into the walls neatly, levelly. So we went to get this invoice based on the estimate that the electrician provided us, and that estimate had all the materials that we needed, the quantity, the types, the brands, all of these things. We had discussions. He prepared the invoice, submitted that to us. We went to Dunn's Electrical because that electrician, as well as his partner, has connections. I don't know how this thing works, but I do believe that certain electricians, when they go to these places, they get a particular amount of discount. So we were able to benefit from the discount as a result of this electricians association. And who no like discount, me don't know if them people that ban it, because in the process of building a house, especially when it gets to this stage, you see him right there cutting the wall to sort out the this is the plug for the TV, the entertainment area of the bedroom. Yeah, he was sorting that out right there. So he's going to be inserting more metal boxes. The correct name will be inserted in the caption because I keep mixing it up. Yeah, so more metal boxes will be placed here. See him with it in him hand? Going right into the hole there. But let's move on. It's tedious work, and this electrician, what he did, he has his second. So what he did was, whilst he was cutting the walls, the second, yes, I'm going to flash up the thing. Something going to go in there. And this electrical team, after they've done all of this inserting of metal boxes, they eventually flash up back the wall to come up in line with the rough cast wall. So them something they going to start going in now. Yeah. You can see, you know, so the flashing go on there. Real work start when you see them things there going. Yes, so whilst the electrician was cutting the walls, his assistant was going about digging so that the pipes... 1 minute, let me zoom in a bit. And as he inserts, he will ensure that, of course, it is level. Neatness, even electrical work for neat. Now, I was saying earlier that when you get to this aspect of the construction process, any amount of money that you can save without taking illegal and unnecessary and dangerous shortcuts, save that money, because in the end, you're going to need it to do something else in the construction process. So when you hire an electrician, ensure that this electrician is one who is attached to a electrical hardware or store where they can get deals and discounts, because their connections will eventually become your connection, and that connection will save you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run. It's important to note, and I ought to have made reference to this earlier, that the electrician was also provided with the electrical part of the plan. So this was used to guide his estimate. He didn't just willy-nilly just listen to us. Of course, I wouldn't mind if we alone him listen too, but he's a proper electrician. So he was guided by the plans, which if properly drawn, will contemplate all locations, so plugs, panels, switches, and all the works. You see the electrician second here. He's an electrician in his own right, isn't it? I'm gonna go on with him thing, man. So I'm proud of these young men. Yes, I'm gonna bend the pipe and all these things using that bend thingy there. And the electrician here is working on the panel box, because as you know, this is a portion of the dream house that we are working on. So you might be wondering, why is it there? But fret not thyself, it is specifically placed at that location because in the end, that is where we want it to go when the other section of the house is completed. So it will just be a matter of digging out but that portion of the wall on the opposite side, yeah, and putting that panel thingy over on the other side. Nothing else now got damaged per se, because the pipes are already there, the wires are already there. So it's just to cut out neatly, as he's been doing, the other section on the opposite side for the panel box to be placed at. I'm looking back on some receipts and I can see we also purchased some electrical conduits, about 5 of those. We purchased a 1-inch PVC bend, some more couplers, a PVC handy box, I don't know what that is, some reducing bushing, some T, 4-inch T, a 45 degree bends, some more reducing bushing, and various amounts of these. And of course this adds to the final cost, because for the bushing, the bends, and the T, that's a total of $5,380 right there. And the PVC handy box, $400, the bend and electrical conduit and coupler, $1,310. Go under the maths until I give you the final total. Let us not forget that we needed a pipe rider. We also needed a 3/4 pot head, a 1 1/4 pot head, some grease nipple, charger. These names, these electrical parts, leaves very little to the imagination. But anyways, we also purchased 36 feet of 16 mm black single wire. Just to note that we bought a lot of wires, because the electrical process, it's all about switches, metal boxes, pipes, wires, and the larger your house is, the more pipes you'll have to buy, the more wire you have to buy, and the farther away from your house the stanchion is, the more pipes, the more wire you have to buy. And I mentioned earlier that these electricians, they didn't just dig out the holes in the wall and leave it like that, them fill it in back. And you could see for yourselves that as they put the pipes in, the walls were also completed. This is the electrician continuing with the process of digging out the section for the panel box. See what the man need? Channel star. Now let's get to the part of the project that gets fiery. This portion of the work becomes necessary so that the pipes can go through the top and the bottom of this panel box, I believe. You'll see all of that later. Until then, let's get right back into some prices. We purchased some additional items as, changes to the plan occurred and, needs changed. The receipt is so badly faded, I'm not able to see everything on it, but I do know the total on that receipt is $10,233.42. Of course, those things were purchased at Dunn's Electrical. Everything that you're seeing here is building up to a final inspection. So whatever our electrician did has to be done properly, because eventually he'll be pushing wires from the stanchion or pulling wires from the house, or whichever direction the wires them go. But some pulling going go on, either to or from the stank. Eventually they all go into the stanchion, yes, and you have to pull it, and then the meter has to go in and all of these things. The long and short of it is, inspection has to take place eventually, and this is after the electrician has completed every aspect of his work. In the long run, no matter how neat the electrician is, no matter how well done the project look to us, we do not have the final say. Well, God has a final say eventually, but as far as the electrical process is concerned, the inspector had to come in and do what he needed to do to pass or fail this. You will find out in the next video whether or not we passed this electrical test. And of course, you'll also see further work done by our electrician leading up to the process of inspection. How much did we pay overall for all the materials we used to do the electrical work here in this video and in the part 2 to come? Well, we spent a whopping total on materials only of $305,154.42 Jamaican. So you will notice that this is less than the cost which was quoted on the invoice. Bear in mind that not all the things listed in the invoice earlier were purchased from Duns, because not everything was available. Also, we got a discount from Duns. Remember, I mentioned savings earlier? Yep. A 30% discount, but this discount was not applicable to all items requested based on the invoice or the estimate that our electrician offered. So the total cost was spent between Duns and other places where we got the items from. Coming up in our next video, you'll get to see the wires being pulled in, the switches put in place, the breaker turn on, string up neatly, and all these nice things. And of course, you'll get to see the lights come on, the type of lights we used, and all of the niceness. Stick around for videos to come. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in another video. Until then, bye!